And that was the most important thing. We had bills to pay, you know.
No, that's good that you guys. I mean, I'm sure there was somebody out there that would have obliged whatever they wanted. You know,
Wow.
so
Those were the guys that you have to be worried about. You know,
I
I could
agree.
just imagine. And not only that too, like I said last time, I'm a 28-year-old or I'm a 30-year-old woman to you on the phone. Are they really the successful men they say they are? Are they really these men who are not married? I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know this one guy, um, and he paid me under the table very nicely, very nicely,
Good.
very good. And I remember he was making plans of me actually going out there to visit him. I was never going to go. He was just money. However, his
Yeah.
plans were to keep me in because he was very wealthy, very wealthy. I didn't realize how wealthy he is till he sent me some money orders. I'm like, oh God, this guy. And I hated him, just go figure. But he was going to have me stay in his farm. He owned a huge farm.
Farm.
He was going to have me stay at his farm for a week. And after work, he'd go home, have dinner with his family, and then he'd come and we would have fun. He'd only stay for a certain amount of time. Then he'd come back the next day. And then but he wasn't going to pick me up from the airport. He was going to have me picked up. He said a limo. I believe he probably would have because he was very wealthy. So, you know, I wouldn't have to need anything. All the food, everything would be there. I would just be there at his beck and call when he came.
Wow.
That's a little scary nowadays, though, huh?
And exactly. And I thought to myself, wow, huh. But after I got to know him, then I understood he was not going to hurt. But see, you don't know though until you know these people. I mean, this guy gave me a lot of money. He's not going to give somebody a lot of money and then kill him. You
But
know what I mean?
that's kind of a fine line. I mean, you're protecting your own emotions and your own psyche that you're not going to want to get too close, but you have to get close enough to where you are in a position of working under the table.
Right.
So you're playing with your. I mean, it's
Well,
like
yeah, you're right.
Russian
You're
roulette
right.
for
You're
yourself.
right. But I
You
had a
know,
P.O.
it's
box.
Russian roulette.
He never came to my house. So I kind of had to think it out. You know, you don't do
No,
24
true.
years of phone sex and not get a little bit of extra. You know,
Oh no,
I've had
I totally agree.
I had a customer send me $1,500. It was in a P.O. box in the Bay Area, but it was $1,500 cash in foil in an
Oil.
envelope. Yeah, so this way it wouldn't be detected it was money, so nobody would try to steal it.
Ah.
Wow.
Okay.
And yeah, and all I had to do was be available for 8 hours. So I got $1,500 for 8 hours, but it had to be at his beck and call. So I had one of those little flip phones, and he would text me now, NOW.
Mm.
No matter what I was doing, I'd have to stop. Now, he knew I worked during the day. After I got home, I'd have to give him a time where I'd be home. From the time I'd be home to the time I'd get ready to go to work, I was available for him up to 8 hours until the 8 hours ran out. Then I'd get another 1,500. But we didn't really talk about anything interesting. It was just listening to him masturbate and get off, and you know. And then of course me pretending I am too. And at one point I was trying to get more money from him, so I told him I was in love with him. You know, you learn how to manipulate.
You play the game.
You play
You're
the game.
you're playing
I
chess.
won. I became queen a few times.
Yeah.
You know?
or you know, chess, checkers, whatever. But
Yes.
you're playing the
Checkmate.
game.
Checkmate. There you go. Yeah.
When people would call into, and this is kind of going back a little bit, I was kind of going down memory lane. Something set off a memory of mine of Nip Tuck. Remember that show?
Oh,
Where they
geez.
do
Yeah, I remember
plastic
that show.
surgery or something?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's an interesting show, to say the least. But one of the doctors ended up getting into auto asphyxiation.
Autoasphyxiation.
Now, did anyone do that or did you again make that kind of
I've
Did you play
never,
that? No.
I've never, I mean, I don't know how we would be able to do that because I mean, without the guy passing out while we're on the phone.
Or
In
the
my
operator.
opinion,
But
exactly. In my
well,
opinion, the guy that was into raping and uh, choking, I think that would be a form of auto asphyxiation because he's making you choke, he's choking, then he lets you go for a moment. And then, so you're coughing and begging him, please stop, please stop. But then he puts his arm, well, supposedly he's putting his hands back on your neck, So that would be the closest form of auto asphyxiation, I would think. But other than that, I've never talked to anybody like that. No.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's trippy. And it's just trippy that people were doing this for so long, and now it's just gotten to the point of, they're we talked about it last time. Their imaginations are no more, because of the power of the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that kind of leads to a question I had. Sorry, I am getting all these delayed text messages and emails now. The phone service must be working. Anyway, my question was on our previous conversation, as far as the comparison to live stream or delayed, videos, to what your line of work was and the competition between. And then you had mentioned that you wanted to give some advice in people wanting to get into the business,
Yeah.
the PSO business.
Yeah.
Then I recently just saw on television, or it might have been on the internet, that they're having, instead of chat line, they're having group chat videos.
What?
Yes.
Oh, I've been in one of those before.
Have you?
No, I wasn't participating in it. There was, I don't even know the name of the company, probably I want to say about 10 years ago. It was for, I'm not going to lie, I'm a big girl. And it was for big girls. And I was, you go into this chat room, or you could be on the phone. So you choose what you wanted to do. So I don't know these people, and I don't want them to know I'm a phone sex operator, because then all of a sudden everybody wants to hear some examples, and I'm not about to give that for free. So I would go into the chat room, and I remember
Just for
you guys and all your fans. But so I'm going into this chat room and I'm talking to other people, but you can click onto the person's link, and you can see them live talking. So then I'm like, oh, so everybody is looking at everybody while they're texting or typing to each other. So, okay, so I'm like, that's cool. That's cool to know. So later on, probably a few days later, it's in the evening. I'm like, I'm going to go see who's on and go and chat with people. And I click onto their links, and they're masturbating. Every person I clicked onto was masturbating. And I'm like,
men and women.
This one girl, she had a double decker. It was a big one. I'm like, girl, how are you going to put that in you? I just could not believe that. So, I mean, I didn't participate in it, but when I saw that, I'm like, huh, okay. The guys, and then the funny thing is, this one guy, he made these ugly faces as he's jerking off, and he's like, and then he puts I don't know I think it was the little recorder that you have on your computer. He puts it towards his penis, and you see his hand shaking. Then he puts it back onto his face, and it's like, no, put it back onto your penis, because that face is ugly. I mean, seriously, I can't deal with it. Or then when you see the guys with the small ones, and and you type, wow, you are hung. You got to build them up. You got to build them up. You got to build these up.
Hung like a grasshopper there, bud.
Hung like a newborn. He was small. No, I'm teasing. But no, seriously though, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen. I was like, wow. So then I never went back to that site or to that chat thing. I was done.
Wow.
So it's actually real. It's a multiple screen, because I'm assuming the format is kind of like what we're doing on Zoom and Google Meet and Cisco Meet. It's multiple screens and everyone's just jabberjawing and doing their thing at the same time, huh?
Yeah. Well, the one that I went to probably was not as like Zoom, how we can all be on at the same time. Or I've
Yeah.
seen other programs where you have a panel and everybody's up there.
Right.
The
Right.
one I saw was you had to click onto the person. Say, for example, there's a Lisa. You click onto Lisa, you see Lisa. They can click onto me, but see, I didn't have a camera. So they can click onto me and all they're going to see is black screen. But and there were a lot of people that had black screens. They just had their voices. But those that didn't, that participated, you click onto them and you got to see a little bit more than you really wanted to. So nowadays, I think like Zoom is sophisticated. You have a lot of sophisticated programs now versus 10 years ago.
Did you ever?
That was kind of why I was
Yeah.
asking. Oh,
No, go ahead.
in regards to wanting to put out information, giving people the info. I mean, do you think this line of work that you were in for so many years is actually obsolete, or there could be, because there's still got to be something left for the imagination? Everything visual, everything
Exactly.
audio. I mean, you got to have, it takes the creativity out of it. There's no creativity in any of it.
Well, there's
Do you
companies.
think that there's a chance of resurrecting that?
There's companies like, for example, Night Flirts is a company where I think I brought it up last time. You can buy pictures,
Yeah.
where you can actually take pictures of yourself, and you set your price per minute, and the customer will get a free 45 seconds. And if he stays on, so you don't give him too much, you just kind of entice him a little, but you don't give him the cow, because otherwise the milk's gone. Well, literally.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
But yeah, so you entice them, and I mean, I was on there for a little while. I didn't do well, because I'm more of a person who likes to I'm a phone girl. Give me a call so I know exactly what to talk about.
And I could tell everyone, and yourself included, Dad, wait till you hear this episode when it comes out, because there's a good surprise at the beginning of this. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
No way. Really?
Okay. Yeah, I'm down. I'm like I said, I obviously missed something in the beginning part, so sorry for the delay.
Don't worry about it.
But yeah, no, like I mean, it's been like a month since we last spoke to you. And you were interested in possibly approaching or even doing something similar with your life experiences. Are you still interested in doing something like that, Maggie? Doing a podcast or a virtual vlog?
Virtual? No virtual. No. I may have grandchildren someday.
That's very true.
I may run for president.
Oh wow, that is yeah, can you believe? Yeah, can you imagine that all the
ever
stuff
want to
that
do
these
anything
youngsters are
political,
doing?
and if you do you can mess yourself up quickly. One bad apple, one bad turn, and then it's going to come back at you when you run for president. I mean, look at the one that we have now, if you want to call him a president.
But that's just anything. That's not even what we're talking about when it comes to like phone sex or online stuff, or online sex, whatever. Instagram. If you post one spicy picture, or something that's controversial, you're shot for whatever career path. If you're going in Congress or whatever, they're going to pull up that one picture every single time.
Former President Clinton's mom was a single mom, and she used to drive around in her convertible with tube tops, low tube tops. And they used to call her a lot of names in the area where they lived. So that was brought up when he was president, how his mother was not very ladylike. I mean, it's, you hear those. I mean, like, for example, thank God my kids are not political, because can you imagine my son who wanted to run for something, my daughter who wants to run for something, and your mom was a phone sex operator. We used to call them phone hoes. Your mom's a phone hoe. Your mom was a phone hoe, And
but I mean, they could say it's just make believe. No one's. I mean, who's to say you didn't have a auto-tune voice or something,
Yeah.
You could actually be, instead of Maggie, you could be Mark.
Very true. Very true.
You could be Mark. I have your BBC here, pal. Come on over.
I have
Yeah.
we were marks. We were marks when we didn't have men available. So we had one she-male. I loved her. I got to
Oh,
look at her photos because I had her driver's license, and she was beautiful. I mean, I was like, damn, she's a hottie. And I loved her, but she was very emotional, because she liked these guys where we were just doing it because we wanted money. She was very flirtatious with these guys because she liked men. So that you're right. I mean, you got the mark, but you'd never know they're a mark because we didn't know I mean, if you hear her voice, you didn't know she was a mark until I got the ID. I'm like, oh, there's that Adam's apple. Okay.
yeah.
Wow. Well, that was I think that was pretty good. I think we went pretty deep. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you want to talk about?
Mm,
You talking to me or
Yeah,
Maggie?
Dad.
Oh, it really it's what's really interesting to me is that, the competitiveness. And when
yeah.
you said that, this is kind of a dying breed, and then you have the internet, and then you have video chatting, and then you have live video. I don't know. I just like the fact that, if there's an edge and you think you can actually reignite this line of work, just to see somebody have that passion,
Mm-hmm.
who's really, you really look forward. You like your job. It's no different than a
Yeah.
butcher liking to cut meat. It's no different than a driver liking to drive a big rig. No different than a football player. You liked what you did, and you
Yeah.
can tell. I can tell in your voice, you're like, well, there still is that opportunity. There's still some creativeness in your voice. And to me, that's interesting. I mean, I know what we talked about and what we've been throwing at you and what you've been saying back to us. I hear all that, and that's great. But I think what I get most out of this is that you were really passionate. It was more of an art for you, not
Well,
a job.
it's
And
funny
that's what I
because
took.
there's times where I hear a voice and I think to myself, dude, if you only knew, I can make you come in
Yeah.
4 seconds. No, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
so
But
and I did. To me, it was a competitive thing for myself. I mean, especially if I've never talked to a person, it was my goal was to make him fall in love with Maggie or make him fall in love
Mhm.
with Tara
because
because I
that's
wanted extra
that
money to have him call me back. Or this is horrible, when as a dispatcher, I would do the calls with the girls regulars, and my goal was to um, rope them into liking Maggie.
and that's the art that I believe my dad was talking about.
Exactly.
correct.
You were able to
You
obtain it and
Exactly.
hold it.
I wanted to be the best.
By the way, 2-minute warning.
Yeah, yeah, you worked on your craft. You were an artisan. You weren't just, what'd you say you guys were called, a phone hoe?
Phone hose.
No, that I can't see it. I mean, I can honestly talk to you. I mean, no, I know the line of work that you chose to do. It's almost like an art form, to where you nowadays with technology and everything that we have.
There's no emotion there with
Correct.
technology.
Correct. But there is an attachment. Like I was saying in our previous conversation, if I was a long haul driver or someone who just was on the road 8, 9 hours a day,
Yeah.
I would pay to have a conversation. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like having a live action or live audioed podcast. I'm
Mhm.
Maggie. I'm going to be online from this time to this time. And if anybody needs to, chit chat or have an ear to bend, I'm here.
Yeah.
Call me. Here's my number and here's our special code, and then we'll link up. I would talk to somebody like you driving cross country or just taking a BART ride home from a long day's work. I don't see anything wrong with it because it's not a sexual link. It's not a sexual hookup. It is
Mhm.
part, you know, at some point, everyone is lonely,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and I may be a single guy relocated in a different part of the state or the world, and I don't know anybody.
You just want some kind of
Some
compassion.
compassion,
Exactly.
communication, or a companion. You know, dogs can't talk back.
Yeah.
Goldfish don't do anything but shit and eat their, and drink water.
And cats are
So
assholes.
yeah, they are. But there's got to be some sort of an attachment like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, there's a point where everyone is lonely at some point, and I don't see how anybody is exempt from that. Have you ever had that thought in your mind or come across many of the people in your line of work that are lonely?
Well, when you're a phone sex operator, a lot of times it's hard to have a boyfriend. And if you're married, your husbands know that that's money, and that money is going to the household or them or whatever.
Sure.
But I mean, I've had boyfriends who were very jealous of me having to talk to other guys, So it's hard to have a relationship when you have that type of career. And there'd be times where, yeah, I mean, you talk to somebody for so long. And I think I told you the last time that I have a friend who I used to talk to on the phone. Do you remember that conversation that went for 4 hours? I made a
Yes. New
lot
Yes.
of
Year's Eve.
money.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
very
New
good
Year's
friends
Eve.
with him.
Right.
He lives in a town right next to me. I got him to
Okay.
move from Philadelphia to where I live.
Shut up.
Wow.
But he's a very good friend. And
That's just crazy that you were able to do that.
well, yeah, because I'm Maggie. However,
I'm the shit.
however, it didn't last because he wasn't who I thought he was. I wasn't who he thought I was. But out of that, we got a good relationship as a friend. I'm his beneficiary. He's got money. He's a
Oh,
miser.
really?
I'm serious. You put a nickel up his ass, you're going to get put a piece of coal up his ass, you're going to get a big diamond. However,
Can you provide me with his phone number?
Yeah.
no,
Give me his
he's mine.
address.
He's my friend. I mean, I tell him I love him, and it's a special love. But he was one of the guys that I kind of, because I was lonely, we had that bond.
Mhm.
When he wasn't married, he would travel, he'd call me, we would talk on the phone for hours. He was my best customer because I made a lot of money off of him. He sent me Coach purses, he sent me jewelry, he sent me a lot of stuff. He was the only customer that I gave my actual address to.
Whoa.
But I
So
felt
you-
comfortable, and I know, yes, I'm playing Russian roulette. However,
Yeah.
talking to him for 4 years, I felt comfortable enough to do that.
I could see that happening. Yeah,
Yeah.
4 years is definitely
And
some bonding.
yeah, and there was some major, he and I had some major chemistry at first, but then when we met each other, it died, but we stayed really good friends. So I could see that girls doing that. You're in a relationship where your husband is, he's going out and he's not fulfilling your needs. You're a phone sex operator. You're talking to these guys and you're getting these guys off. You feel good about it. These guys are like, after they have their moment, yeah, you got the dorks that'll freaking hang up on you, like, go make me a sandwich or something type of call. But then you've got these other guys that after they're done, they're like, oh my God, that was amazing. And that makes you feel good, because you're not just a voice to them. You actually, some might say they don't understand that. And how can you make yourself feel good about that? But honestly, when you make a guy come and he is praising you, it's almost like you're kind of in bed with him. It's almost like a mental thing. You're in bed with him and he's just like, you are so incredible. And it makes you feel good as a woman or a guy, whatever, whoever's doing the call. You know what I mean?
You guys are actual video avatars. Your profiles, you can add an avatar. You guys were avatars before all this.
Oh yeah,
internet
totally.
stuff. Yeah.
I mean, you want blonde, blue eyes. I had green eyes. I had blue eyes. I had brown eyes. I had blonde hair, red hair, brown hair. I was 5'6". I was 5'9". I was 5'2".
You're one of the
Whatever you
Amazon
wanted
women.
to. Exactly. Oh yes, 5 foot. I'm 6'3". It's whatever you want me to be, I would be.
Wow.
But then but like I said, it's like an emotional, because when the guy is done and he's like praising you, wow, that was incredible, or oh my God, you are so beautiful. that makes a girl feel really good, or a guy. It depends on who's doing the call, but that makes the person feel so good, and then that's when you continuously talk to this customer, and then that's where the emotion starts to come together. It's almost like an extension cord. You've got the AC and the DC.
Yeah.
I think I'm saying it right.
Well, yeah, positive
And
and negative.
exactly. And then you get
Right.
to the point where
Or you make contact and you have
you make
electricity.
contact, and then you get the guy bringing you, sending you some money. Then you
Sure.
doing it under the table. Then no, I only did it one time where I met somebody. However, you've got girls that will fall for these guys and then want to meet them.
Yeah, and I don't see how you cannot. I mean, especially I can understand a 4-year companionship over the phone and getting to know somebody through a conversation is much more meaningful. So, but doing it, I mean, greed has to step in at some point for these girls that are just short timers and they want, the flash in the pan type stuff. And those are the ones that get in trouble.
Yeah.
You know? But I got a question back to the relationship part. So when you were speaking about having a relationship with somebody, what interfered the most? The fact that he got jealous and possibly understood what your line of work was, but you didn't bring that into your relationship?
Oh no, I brought everything. What I learned.
So what was his issue with it? I mean, if you were able to do that for a monetary gain, and then you were able to take that for an emotional gain, why was he jealous?
Yeah. In my opinion, I when you are really good at your job and you're making more money than that person, I just felt like I was above, which was stupid. And I dread it now. I mean, I just wish I was together with that guy. But, I kind of had like a chip on my shoulder where we would be in the middle of dinner. I'd get a call. What that meant was I'd have to go leave dinner and I'd have to go do a 15, 20-minute call, and
that's
I
right,
understand. Because
before,
exactly, you don't know when you're going to get a call, and you need to make the money. You need to be available.
And like you said before, you were on call. So if something happened, you had to go do it.
Exactly.
That was a part of the job.
Not to get too personal, but how long ago were you in this relationship? Years ago? 10, 20, 3 months ago?
No, this with him, this man, geez. Let me think. Probably about maybe 10, 12, maybe 12, 13 years ago. I loved him.
Does he not realize he could have just sucked up his pride and had a
No, but you know what though? It wasn't fair. Oh, no, it just wasn't fair. I was picking that job over him. A lot of times you have to. A lot of girls, that's why there's a revolving door in phone sex. You get girls that are awesome. They come, these guys like them, then they go, or they stop showing up. A lot of people don't realize that this is a real job. So they get hired. They don't need training because they have experience. They do such great calls that these guys are like, oh wow, let me speak to so and so. Well, she's not available. Oh, give her a call. Let me see, get a hold of her.
Right.
And then you don't get a hold of her. The next thing you know, she's gone. These are the girls that will come in, make some money, and go because they have a relationship, and that's smart. Because this job will be around for, or you'll find another job where you can make some money. But I was a single parent, so I had to rely on this money. So that's the difference. When I was in my relationship and the phone rang, I had to go take that call. And then he'd give me grief, and then I'd say, fuck you. You're not paying for my kids. You're not paying for this apartment. I am paying for everything. Therefore, the phone rings, I'm there. You don't like it, get out. He left. It's sad. However, I still had to take care of my kids. I wasn't doing this just for a few bucks and then go. I was doing this because I need longevity in supporting my children. So,
but it was definitely part self-sabotaging.
I did self-sabotage, but one thing I have to know, you had brought up that, I could have had what did you say? You could have had the mother, whatever.
Oh, the top 10
sugar mama.
Oh, sugar mama.
Sugar mama. Being a phone sex operator, I get to learn so much. And unfortunately, it was with him. Well, I say fortunately, but he's married now and he's a Christian and he's a, and there's nothing wrong with that because I love God. However, now he's a church going guy, but he's the naughtiest of the naughties, I'm saying. But you get to learn all these things that these guys get turned on by, and you get to use it in your own sex life. You know what I mean? So that's the total benefit. I mean, he should have stayed because,
You actually are, I guess the only way I can try to put it is you're learning from different generations. You've got guys that are customers that are older than you by 10, 12 years, your age group. And then you got these youngsters coming up. And then you've got everything with, out with the old, in with the new. So you've got this constant feeding of the tube scenario. You're learning every time you're picking up the phone call.
Yeah.
Different generations.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Another thing too is when you first learn about phone sex, well, back then, I did at least, I watched a lot of porn. I mean, videos.
Like training.
You had to. I went to the adult bookstore in Hayward, La Amor. I'm not going to put it out there.
It's still there.
Yeah. Is it? Okay. That one's still there. It didn't burn down?
No.
But
it's just
I
got
went
some
there.
Raunchier stuff in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But I went in there. I looked at toys. Now, I didn't buy any toys because they were very overpriced. However, when you talk about what type of, because these guys want to know, you have a toy. Well, what does your toy look like? You got to say exactly what it looks like. You can't make it up. So there you go. And it fit perfectly.
She actually did.
It's a little loose, but
That is insane.
But I went there and I learned. I looked at the toys. I didn't have a camera, obviously, and I didn't. That's before cell phones were really, with the nice camera and stuff. But I definitely actually no, they didn't have. I know they had cell phones, but they were the big brick ones. So I went to the Lamour shop and I would go, and then I'd go into the back with quarters and I'd watch movies. I'd watch Girl on Girl because my best friend went with me, and he was gay. He loved it because I got to see guy and guy. But I did it because I wanted to be able to talk about it and make it realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the benefit. Now, some of the videos I really liked. The toys, I do own some now. However, those back then were just humongous. I mean, King Dong. I mean, it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But no, so I got to learn. And then another thing too, one thing I did do, which was stupid, because I was 25 when I was there with my friend, and I told him, I want to do this phone sex when they call me. That's when I hadn't even become a phone sex operator yet. I had, the lady was going to call me when they had an opening. So I went there and I did some research, and I wanted to talk to guys, like flirt with them, because how else would I know how to do phone sex if I didn't talk to a guy? But my best friend was gay, so he couldn't help me because I didn't turn him on. And every time I would try to talk to him, he would kind of laugh like, oh my God, I can't believe you're saying that to me. So that wasn't good practice. So I remember flirting with some guys, which was stupid because when you're one-on-one in person, that's not good. So then I really didn't get any practice, but I just wanted to talk. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then after that, once I got hired, I had an idea. Remember I told you when my first job, I would use different words like my breast and my vagina and my buttocks. And when the guy was like, dude, that's not turning me on. I want to hear some. I want to hear some nasty words. So you're like, okay, my labias? No. But so I got to learn more as I went on. So learning what the toys look like, when the guys would say, well, what kind of toy do you have? Oh, I have this. It's called King Dong. Really? What does it look like? Well, and then I would explain exactly what I remember seeing, or remember, well, what kind of girl experience do you have? I remember the video. Oh yeah, well, she took my clothes off, and it's my first time. I was so embarrassed. But then when I saw how big her titties were, I was like, oh God, just push them against me. Then all of a sudden it's like, I'm that girl on that video that I saw. So research is important. if you're going to get into this line of business, who knows, you may do it, or you may just do it for your boyfriend, who knows. But anyway, you got to do research. You
Oh
got
yeah.
to you got to see the videos in order to know exactly what you're going to talk about. I mean, unless you actually did a girl on girl, and then good for you. You can just talk about what you did.
Well, that's just it. That goes back to what we were saying. I mean, when you initially started this, you were trying to be really proper.
I
You were
was
trying to
trying.
be more. You were trying to be more of a woman, a wife type. In
Not
actuality, they don't.
wife. I don't think wife. Just I didn't know that you could do a lot of cussing, like your podcast. I didn't know how far I could go.
Right, right.
Mhm.
You were being reserved. Let's put it that
Yes,
way. And
exactly.
then, but whoever was calling in didn't want the reserve. That's
No.
probably what they got at home. They want they want the raunch. They want
Yeah,
the filth. I
yeah,
want slap me with your boob. Squirt some. I get it now. I get
yeah.
what the majority of the attraction was. So a lot of I'm starting to see a lot of what you probably interacted with were the total opposite, living in the opposite lifestyle of what they wanted on a phone.
Yeah.
Sound like you had a lot of preachers.
Principals.
Principal, yeah,
Elementary school
exactly.
principals.
You know what? I would not put it past it. You probably had people that lived in the opposites. Their normal 9 to 5s or their daily
Yeah.
lives were probably so straight, narrow, and boring.
Those were the ones that were probably the raunchiest.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Nope.
I would not doubt it.
It would make sense. It would totally make sense because I don't see anybody, the attraction isn't for somebody with a high sex drive to get into this. I could do the same thing. All we're doing is having a conversation. Teach me something that I don't already know. Well, you're
Yeah.
teaching. You're enlightening the phone caller. You're teaching the phone caller that they can take that control that you
Hmm.
talk about, and you're going to entice them. Hell yeah, it's monetary for you, but hey, I get it. I'm starting to understand what the draw was so much.
Well, customers taught me a lot too. I mean, like teabagging. Didn't know what that was. I'm
I didn't
thinking,
know that either. Don't feel bad.
or
I could thank Soul Plane for that one.
Yeah.
or like going down on a guy sticking your finger up his ass. I mean, so you learn all this stuff, and so I'm able to talk about it. Like you guys, you'll have a guy that'll say, "What is the nastiest thing you've ever done?" I toss some guy's salad. I would never do that. I would never in a trillion thousand years. Believe me, I am not. I am not into no.
Well,
However, to them, that was the raunchiest thing I did, and so they get so turned on. I mean, yeah.
Oh, I'm
what
sure
are
you've
what
had
are
some
some of the
requests.
yeah? What are some of those requests though? Like before, you can go as far as you want for telling us what people have requested or
big
asked you.
the big black hawks are the number one, and a lot of these guys were Caucasian.
Yeah,
So you know
that's gotta be just straight jealousy. Like, why did I
exactly.
get the short end of the stick, God?
Exactly. There's been times where I'll talk to a black guy on the phone, and I'll know because of the sexy sensuality voice that they have,
Mm.
and then I would tell them, "Dude, do you know how many people envy your big black cock?" They'd be like, nah, really? And it's like, dude, you got it going on. So, then you praise them, make their big black cocks hard and whatever. But that was the number one, is big black cock. The second one was uh, big black cock. Oh, making them hurt themselves. That was, number two, I
BDSM.
think, maybe two or three. Yeah, but yeah, like the rubber band thing. What was one? I used to make this one guy hit himself with the ruler. He would do something stupid. I'd make him hit himself with the ruler like 5 times, and then I'd hear it. Now, if he's lying to me, he's lying to me, but he's paying money for nothing. But I would hear that smack, you know, or I had this one guy piss in a cup and drink it. I don't know if he's drinking it. I don't know, but
I guarantee you he did. I
I
guarantee you. I
bet you
will
he
put
did.
money that someone, if you told someone to piss in a cup or hell, even to shit in a cup, that they'll probably do it. They'll probably do it. And the
Yeah.
only reason why I say that is because on shout out Your Mom's House, Tom Segura and Christina P. But there is a guy on there who is they call him Pig, but he did that for his mistress, and the only difference was he's not doing it through a phone call. He's doing it through the internet, through Skype or whatever.
Oh yeah.
She requested that he made poutine fries.
What is that?
It's okay. Don't elaborate.
I can
I can only
elaborate.
imagine.
Poutine.
I
Poutine
can only
fries.
imagine.
But
But
yes,
what's more interesting. I get it. I mean, there's a form of grotesque there, but what's more interesting to me is the power of the voice.
Yeah.
This person is wanting to be acknowledged for a weakness and
Yeah.
wanting to be praised for that. Can I
Yes.
please do this? Will you give me the consent? You know, and like I said, it's strictly monetary for you. And I don't know if you've ever understood or at some point understood the power of that was, but when you said yes, you just opened a floodgate for this guy.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
You know,
Exactly.
that's power. That's
Yeah.
power.
There was this one guy, I won't say his name, of course. Obviously, I don't really know it anymore. But he was a little sissy boy. And I used to love talking to him. I love talking to him because he was just, I just imagined what he looked like. You know, just his voice was so cute, but he was a little sissy and he'd put on a diaper. His little
Nope.
diaper.
Nope.
And I would hear the what is it called?
The Velcro or the
Velcro. He put on his diaper. He's like, "Mommy, can I put my diaper on?"
Ah,
No. And I'd say, "Yes, my little boy, put your diaper." But he was the cutest. I mean, I love talking to him, and it wasn't nothing nasty. He's like, "Mommy, I gotta go pee pee,
it's just creepy.
in your diaper,
But that's
baby."
just creepy. I don't even
No, it
care.
was fun.
No,
Yeah,
no.
it was fun. I'm
No,
sorry.
I get it. I
Those
could
kind of
get that.
calls are fun.
I could
You
get
know.
that. I really could understand that. And the thing is, again,
It's
there's
making my
the
skin crawl.
downside is, you know, what's happened in that guy's voice, who's probably some big CEO or something, and then he has that weakness. What happened? What has kept that lock in his emotion for so?
I did a
Yeah, that
lot
is.
of mommy calls, and a lot of times it wasn't even nasty mommy calls. You know, "Mommy, my pee-pee's hard." "Oh,
Yeah,
my
I.
sweetheart. Well, let mommy rub it for you and make you feel
Nope.
better." You know what I mean?
Nope.
And they like that, you know, and I mean, that's as far as it would go. And then after they'd have their moment, and all of a sudden their normal voices came back. "Hey, so what's up? Hey, I appreciate you doing this call for me. You know I'm not really into this." I'm like, "No, I know for sure. I'll talk to you next time, sweetie." And that was it. But we all know he
I'm
probably
not
wore
really into
diapers.
this. You're paying $15 a minute. You ain't
He
really into that.
probably was it. Yeah, I'm
I
sure he
wanna I
wore.
wanna I wanna dick up my butt. That's not gay, right? That's not gay. You
No,
know,
not at all.
who
It's normal.
cares? If it makes you happy, do it. I don't care. You know, and I'll be honest with you, I've had some calls, of course not the crazy ass calls, but I've had some calls that I was so turned on. You know, where I'm telling a guy what I'm doing to him. I mean, like, especially when they're into feet. Now, I'm not a foot fetish girl, believe me, because my toes are not the prettiest. However, you know, I'm ticklish, so nobody touches my feet. However, when I would talk to this one guy about what I would do with my feet to his body, yeah, I got a little tingle. Girls, if they say that they do not get, and I probably said that last time because maybe I didn't want to maybe let you guys really know, but if a girl says that she does phone sex but she does not get turned on, that is a complete lie, a blatant lie.
I was
Oh, it
gonna
has
say,
to be.
yeah.
It has to be
I
a
was
lie.
gonna
There's
say
no way
there.
to.
Go ahead.
There's no way to have longevity in this for getting
No,
something for free.
no,
You're
no.
getting off for free, and they're paying you to do what you do for work
Yeah.
and stimulation. Yeah, there's no way you can't.
Yeah.
Can't pretend that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, there was some guys that I got turned on with.
I don't see how you couldn't. I don't
Yeah.
see how
My
anybody
friend
could
that
not.
lives in the town next to me. I mean, how can you not talk to him 4 hours at a time, 3 hours at a time? Every time I talked to him, he was going to be an easy $120.
Dang.
Yeah. And then I would, of course, make up a lie for him to call me the next day. Oh, please call me tomorrow. I'll tell you, and you have to learn how to pull the guys in. Oh, I'm going to do this tomorrow. Please call me tomorrow and I'll tell you exactly what happened. So these guys are like, yeah, I'm going to call and find out. The last company I worked for, I did it with this guy all the time. I would tell him that I'm dating this girl. Her name is Puddles, because when she comes, she leaves a big mess. And I'm gonna go do things with her tonight, and I'm so nervous. So call me back tomorrow, and I'll tell you how it is. And then I would tell him what time to call. I would sign on, take his call, make $40, and then I'd sign off for the rest of the day. Because I mean, I have a job, so I make pretty good money at my job now. So with him, it was just, to me, it was the domination in me. Well, call me tomorrow and I'll tell you how it went. Or when I talk to him, he'd say, oh, girl, I haven't talked to you for a long time. What's been happening? Oh, my God. And I'd make up the stupidest shit. And there'd be times where I wouldn't even remember my story, but I think I was just so stupid and raunchy that he just fell for it,
Right. But you were believable.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Some of the shit I said, I wouldn't even believe it.
Well, it sounds very believable to me. Trust me. It sounds very, very believable.
Yeah.
Well, Maggie, thank you very much for being on here.
My pleasure. It was fun. You guys bring it out in me.
It's the same here. I mean, every time I speak, there's just things you'll say something, and I'm like, that's the next question I got. And then you'll say something again, then I'll forget that question and be like, God, I got another question. So yeah, we could keep going. So I guess that's what we're going to be doing from this point forward.
And thank you very much.
My pleasure.
I greatly appreciate it. And I'll be putting this up on YouTube now with like I said, the fancy little background.
Yeah.
So
love it. That's so cool.
This will be up there. So thank you very much.
All right.
No problem. Take care, guys.
Good night.